Former President Trump was also asked about tomorrow night's vice presidential debate. He says his running mate, JD Vance, is going to do great. Vice President Kamala Harris is also cheering on her running mate, Governor Tim Walz, and she continues to challenge Trump to another debate.
I think he should debate again. The American people have a right to hear us discuss the issues. And as you say here in Las Vegas, I'm all in.
Meanwhile, Trump made waves over the weekend for calling Harris mentally impaired and blasted her handling of the southern border.
And if you think about it, only a mentally disabled person could have allowed this to happen to our country.
Democratic Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker ripped on Trump for name-calling, but Republican Senator Lindsey Graham still calls Harris a crazy liberal because she supports Medicare for all and the Green New Deal. And for more on tomorrow night's VP debate, let's bring in Christopher Devine, political science professor at the University of Dayton and author of the book, Do Running Mates Matter? Professor Devine, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. So tell us, how important is tomorrow night's debate, and how much does it matter when it comes to voters when they decide upon their presidential pick? Like your book says, do running mates really matter?
Tracy, thank you for having me on. Thanks for the question. The VP debate, its effect is a lot like the effect of VPs in general. That they matter, the VPs matter, the debate matters, but it's not front and center for voters. They're mainly choosing between presidential candidates. I know that seems obvious, but when you think about it, people will say, well, JD Vance, he's pretty unpopular. He's about 10% negative in terms of favorability, which is quite low for a vice presidential candidate. Tim Walz is slightly popular. You might think, well, people will vote for one ticket or against another because of the VP candidates. Well, most people don't do that. They don't do it either because that running mate comes from some group that they belong to, a religious group, a demographic group, a geographic group. That generally doesn't happen. They matter in terms of shaping how we think of the presidential candidates. We as voters know that Donald Trump could have chosen basically any Republican for his running mate. Kamala Harris could have chosen basically any Democrat. They picked Trump, picked Vance. Harris picked Walz. Let's see how they perform. That'll tell us something about the judgment of Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. It might tell us also something about their policy views, their priorities, given what it is that these folks will emphasize. So I think voters will get some insight into the choice they have between Trump and Harris from this debate, even if those two aren't going to be on the stage.
Yeah, and folks do need to know a little bit more about them. Vance, on the other hand, has been in the public eye a little bit longer than Governor Walz, at least on the national stage. Do you think, Christopher, is that an advantage for him or a disadvantage?
Vance has been in the broader national conversation for longer because of his book in 2016, Hillbilly Elegy, of course, a best-selling memoir, later turned into a movie. But as far as politics goes, he's really only been on the scene for a few years, building up to his 2022 Senate run, where he won a very tough Republican primary in the state of Ohio, my home state of Ohio, and then won a pretty tough general election against Democrat Tim Ryan. But Tim Walz has been in politics a lot longer. He's been doing these debates and campaign appearances for quite a long time, ever since 2006, when he first ran for Congress, and then in 2018 and again in 2022 ran for governor successfully in the state of Minnesota. So they have different levels of experience. JD Vance has a little more experience on the national scene, but when it comes to politics and events tomorrow, Tim Walz actually has more experience.
Yeah, and what do you think Walz needs to do tomorrow to appeal to the voters nationally?
Was it JD Vance?
Governor Walz.
Governor Walz, I'm sorry, cut out for a second. What does Governor Walz have to do? Governor Walz has to really be critical of the Trump policies, the past Trump administration, a future Trump administration, while also making a positive case for a Harris administration. We saw some insights into what a Harris administration would look like based on the last debate on September 10th. But, there was a lot of other stuff going on in that debate and maybe wasn't as focused on policy. I think there are a lot of blanks that Tim Walz can fill in to tell people not just why they should be against Donald Trump, but why they should be for Kamala Harris. Also, by the way, introducing him to voters and saying why he would be a good vice president. A lot of people don't know much about him. He has some biography to fill in, as does JD Vance.
Yeah, and really quickly, almost out of time here, but what are you hoping to see and hear from the candidates tomorrow?
I think we're all hoping to hear more substance. Again, there was substance in the last debate, but it got overshadowed, especially the cats and dogs stuff that really took over the conversation. I think a lot of people would like to find out more about where these folks stand on economic policy, on foreign policy, on education, all kinds of things. That would be really valuable to voters as they make a decision, hopefully based on the merits of the two candidates.
We're going to leave it right there. Professor Devine, great to be with you. Thank you so much for weighing in. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy.